I've been busy while you guys were away. I removed the side cover after I drained the oil. Just put this down to catch any drips. So drained the oil, I removed the side cover, undid all these little bolts, as you can see. Removed the clutch cable, removed the timing sensor, and now we're ready to lock the crankshaft into place. That's important because the force of the valve springs pushing up against the cam lobes want to twist the crankshaft. So as you can see, if there's a cam lobe right here pushing down against the spring, it's going to be pushing back up. That's going to want to twist this or this. We want to keep everything in place while we pull these cam bolts, cam caps. So to do that, we lock this into place. To do so, I just happened to notice that I had a screwdriver that was broken that was also exactly the right size. So this can actually fit through here and into the slot in the sprocket carrier. So remember, this is bolted to this. As you can see, I don't know if, actually I hope you can, there's a bolt missing right there, which I undid because you have to rotate the cam to get to it. So we lock this shaft to this cap with this pin. But now the sprocket can come undone from the camshaft and slide over. To make sure that nothing moves while we're doing that, we also lock the crankshaft in place down here with this bolt in this hole. Behind this threaded hole is this. This is a crankshaft from a damaged motor. And I've lined it up so that this divot right here in the crank is almost exactly perfectly lined up with that hole in the side of the cover. So this bolts into there like that and holds it in place. So this cannot move. The cams cannot move. That gives us the ability to lift everything off and hold this sprocket in place. There's one more step to that puzzle, which is this. Once I pull this U-bolt off, I'll put this down, and the sprocket here will slide onto this point right here. That keeps everything aligned. The reason for that is we can't adjust, or we can't remove the cam chain tensioner. It's a hydraulic unit way down there, so instead of making it spring adjustable like many other manufacturers, Aprilia just provide this system instead. Anyway, let's take a look. Now, it's not going to be easy to see on camera. It's difficult enough for me to see it. But I can see that the hole, the divot, is just barely unaligned, barely out of alignment. So we will thread this in, and this will precisely align the crankshaft. There. It pushed the crankshaft into place. Now it is nicely locked, not moving at all. So this is locked. The cam shaft is locked. I can remove this bolt here after I lock the tool down. So next I'll remove this oil pipe, remove the U-bolt, and we are good to go. So I will do that and be right back. Alright, here we go. I had to modify the tool. It didn't fit. I'm sure it fits with the engine out of the chassis, but with it in, it just didn't do it. It would not go in, so some minor mods, and we are good. Let's see now if it'll actually bolt down or not. It still doesn't fit perfectly. Oh, the irony. The official Aprilia tool doesn't quite fit right. I think a slight redesign is in order. I might make it a little different when I get my CNC mill back up and running. I just got a new controller for it, so that shouldn't be long. Yeah, that just does not want to go in. And if I use the sprocket for leverage to push the tool over, the sprocket will come off. And I would rather have the tool bolted up properly first. It just doesn't fit. That's amazing. The official Aprilia tool just does not fit. There we go. And yeah, it has completely freed up the camshaft. There's one. There we go. Okay, got all the cam caps off, and with them in place we couldn't see the alignment marks for the sprockets as well, which I don't know if you can see are right in there. There's one on this sprocket and there's two on this sprocket, because of course that's aligning the exhaust cam to the inlet cam, and then the inlet cam is aligned to the crankshaft with the pin down here, and the sprocket is on the tool. Time for the big reveal. And yep. There we go. You might be able to see those dots there now. Here we go. There's the bucket. And there is the shim. All that to get to this little thing. So we can check how big it is. Micrometer is lined up to 0. Okay, this is near as damn it to 90 thousandths. Okay. The rear bank exhaust was 9 thousandths, which is right in the tolerance. So that one's okay. So we will, however, record how big it was. Okay, this one is a 90 thousandths. We're good, so we won't change it. Now whatever you do, don't drop this down into the bowels of the engine. And I always make sure to put the same bucket back in the same slot, even though precision machining should allow for it to be the same. Okay, the rear here is 7.5 thousandths clearance. We need it to be bigger. So if we could go 2 thousandths larger on this one, that would be great. There we go. So how big is this little fella? We're 90 again. Hope you can see that. 90 thousandths. 3 thousandths bigger. 88. So that would increase that gap by exactly 2 thousandths, so that would make it 9.5, which is right at the top of the tolerance. but that's the best we can do. So again, let's take a look. This is the one that came out of the motor, and that's near as damn it to 90. And this is 88, so that's going to increase the gap by 0.02 of an inch. So that's going to be 9.5. That's pretty good, so we'll do that. Okay, that leaves us, that one's good, right in the middle of the tolerance, and this is way small. So that is the rightmost rear exhaust, which is this one right here. Okay. So the rightmost, we'll put that one back. Ooh, actually, not that one. That goes 90 was there. Rightmost rear exhaust was 93. Wow. No wonder it's so small. Jeez. So we need to increase that gap by at least 3, perhaps 4, to get to the top of the tolerance. So if we could get a 90, that would be pretty good. That would put it right in the middle. Use the one we just pulled out, which I do believe was that one. 90, 91, 92, 93. Yep, 90. So that's going to increase that space because the shim is 3 thousandths smaller, so that gap grows by 3 thousandths, makes it to 9. So we put it in. There's the shim on top of the valve. Here's the bucket on top of the shim. There we go. Now theoretically, that should be the rear exhaust properly adjusted. So just for posterity, these were all 90, 90, and 93. Now, that is an 88, and this is a 90. Okay, so this cam is released from the sprocket. Let's see. Oh, perfect. Nice and easy. There we go. $103, 102 and a half. $102.5 thousandths of an inch, but it's good, so we don't need to change anything. Want intake 2 on the rear, it's 3.5, it's a little small. So if we could go up by 2 thousandths, that would be great. So let's see what it actually is. There we go. Okay, that's near as damn it to 102 thousandths of an inch. Okay, let's see. 102 gives us a gap of 3.5. We need it to be between 4 and 6. Ooh, 99 to 100 will give us a gap 3 thousandths bigger. That's 6.8 a bit thousandths, so that's going to be the one. There we go. $101. Okay, 101 gives us a gap of 3. So we need to make that smaller to 99 would be nice. So put it in 5. Oop, there's a 99. Yep, okay. 99. Put a 99 in there. And we'll put a 99 in here too. So increasing that gap by 2 thousandths makes it 5. Intake right between. $102. And the gap is 2.5, which is way small. If we put another 99 in there, it'll get increased by 3, which makes it 5.5, which is perfect. Top end of the tolerance. 102. To 99. That's the last of my 99s. Okay, 99 increased by 3 makes that gap 5.5 thousandths, which is right in between. Okay. Alright, that is the rear bank back into spec. Now we can put the cams back in, put the sprocket back on, and we should be good to go. But of course, we can't be sure until we check. There we go. There's the dots. There's the dot. Okay, that's the way that should be. Oh, and it's time to go.